We're here today in response to the Council's invitation to discuss with them the mooted changes to the dog exercise areas in the Eurobodalla. And we're at Tuross, and so we're concerned residents here, but we also appreciate this opportunity to have our say because many of us are dog owners, but the main thing is that we do need to compromise. Now, the Tuross Head Progress Association has submitted an excellent letter representing a lot of the local community, and we want to put forward some of our views today.
What are your views, Rosie?
Well, my views concern, for those who know Tuross, the mooted change to South Plantation and North One Tree. I believe that it would be wrong to have that as a 24/7 off-leash area, because the current one that is 24/7 off-leash is not, which is Coiler Beach, is not very appropriate for dogs and for their owners, often who are quite elderly. There are mobility issues, there are issues with fishermen leaving hooks. It is difficult to walk on at times, but also when they do open Coiler Lake to the sea, there is no access at all to that beach. So
Sure.
I'd like to hear other views.
Sheila?
Well, I'm concerned very much with the way the current plan is drawn, or the suggested plan, which has gone up for consultation, because a lot of people may not be aware that the majority of residents in Tuross who like to take their dogs down for a run, dogs need a run and a gallop to stay healthy in their mind as well as in their body, just as their owners do. And at the moment, Coiler Beach, it's very soft. It's often got quite a steep precipice down to the water. And people like myself, of whom there are a lot in Tuross, have joint replacements, they've got tricky knees, they've got problems that don't stop them walking or playing with their dogs, but do stop them walking and playing on soft sand, because you're warned that you shouldn't do that, especially if you've got joint replacements. I'm concerned when people fill in their opinion on this proposed plan, they'll look and they'll say, oh well, dog owners have got all the Coiler Beach, what are they on about? They've got that, we can have the rest, no dogs. Without knowing and realising the implications for a lot of people. Unless you've tried to walk any distance on that beach and maybe had a sore joint, you won't know how hard it is.
Hi, I'm Alexis. I fully understand Sheila's point of view, and I know that in Tuross there are a lot of elderly people, older people, and their dog is important to them and they need somewhere to walk. And I understand the issue with Coiler, so I certainly understand where you're coming from, that we shouldn't just be saying, you've got Coiler, what are you worried about? I do think it's really important as a community that there's a compromise that comes about, and I'm sure we can have a win-win situation for everybody. And I think it's fantastic that the council has given us this opportunity to come together and discuss it. My suggestion was, we've got Neverworks, what's it called? North One Tree. North One Tree and yeah. Plantation. And then we've got the absolute no-go of the main beach. I'm wondering why there can't be a compromise where the Neverworks or the North Plantation is another area for dogs that could be off-leash, and we could have none on Plantation. Now I know some dog owners will say, oh well, it's not long enough, we like to go over the headland, but as I said before, it's all about compromise. The dogs could run up and down, backwards and forwards there, and then the people who like to go to beaches other than the main beach can have the Plantation beach, which is more suitable for swimming mostly. At the moment, interestingly, Plantation is actually quite steep as well and very soft sand. I was walking there the other day. So, as I said, I think it's fantastic that we get together, and there are so many beaches here, we should be able to come to an agreement that everybody's happy. But a lot of the things I've been reading are that no one, and I know people like to generalise, no one ever swims at Plantation. Well, that's completely untrue. that's where I go to swim, especially now that Stony Beach is stony and doesn't have much sand on it. But you know, there are a lot of people who live at that end who like to swim on those beaches there, and I understand that we have to get along together. Having a dog on a leash on the beach is, you know, maybe a compromise in some areas, and then, you know, the dogs, the people perhaps could look at or the council could look at letting the dogs be able to run free on one of those two beaches, which perhaps work for everybody.
Can I make comments on that? First of all, North One Tree's access is pretty difficult, even harder than getting onto Coiler, because the pathways are quite old, washed away, and
I guess that could be fixed. The council could fix that.
Yeah, well, yes, one is way too steep. The other thing is, yes, I swim too at South Plantation, but really the dogs are there mostly before the swimmers are there. They're there in the early mornings. The swimmers are usually a little bit later. Occasionally they're there together, but we're talking, you know, 5 or 6 maybe swimmers at the time. Now, I accept that one or the other is a good compromise. Ideally, I'd like both parts of it, because then neither of them are very big.
No,
and there is an interesting pathway for the dogs over. But my main gripe, of course, is to have our dogs on those two on leash 24/7. Is almost ridiculous, because that means no balls, no sticks, no frisbees, and that's the reason that you bring the dogs down there, because you don't want them digging up parks or larger public areas. So I think we'll resolve it though, and we've got a bit of time to do it. We've got till the end of this month to put in submissions to the council, or go onto the council's website and go to In Council and find dog exercise areas, and there's a survey there, and you're able to comment on up to 2 beaches. And then I suppose go back in again and do it again if there are more.
Yeah. The other thing that needs doing, of course, and the council's acknowledged that, is improved signage, because it is so confusing at the moment. I think all the locals know, but during holiday time, there are dogs on these beaches all day, because people perhaps can't understand the signage.
Something I would like to add, if those 2 beaches that we've been talking about were able to become off-leash 24 hours, one thing I think a lot of people wouldn't be upset about accepting was, in school holidays, those 2 beaches would be on leash in the school holidays. But at the moment, the plan is to make them 24-hour on leash the whole year. And really and truly, especially from May through to beginning of the October holidays, there are not many people down there except the locals exercising their dogs.